It had been a long, exhausting week, and I was barely keeping it together. Work was demanding. My phone never stopped ringing, and by the time Friday evening came, I was more than ready for a quiet night with Jessica. We hadn't had a moment to ourselves in what felt like forever. I was tired, emotionally drained, but I just wanted to feel close to her again. When I walked through the door, I expected to see Jessica ready to unwind, maybe with a glass of wine and a warm smile. Instead, she greeted me with a half smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Hey, babe," she said, her voice soft but distant. "I'm not in the mood tonight. Maybe another time." Her words stung more than I expected. We had been disconnected for weeks, and all I wanted was a moment to reconnect, to remind her of the love we shared. But tonight, something was different. "No problem," I said, trying to keep my disappointment hidden. "We can just have a quiet night in." I placed my keys on the counter, trying to hide the hurt in my voice. She smiled again, but it didn't feel genuine. "I'll be in the other room," she said, her tone flat. I nodded, watching her walk away, and the silence that filled the room felt heavy. The house seemed too quiet, too still. I tried to occupy myself with the TV, flipping through channels, but nothing seemed to matter. The tension in the air was suffocating. That's when I heard the soft sound of footsteps from the hallway. Kelly, Jessica's cousin. She wasn't just a family member. She was the kind of person who could light up a room, always full of energy, always cracking jokes. But tonight, she felt different. "Hey, David," she said, her voice warm, but there was something in her eyes that caught my attention. "How's it going?" "Good," I replied, forcing a smile. "Just trying to pass the time. Jessica's not feeling up for much tonight." Kelly nodded, but there was something in her gaze that lingered a little too long. "Yeah, I figured," she said, stepping further into the room, sitting down next to me on the couch. "Mind if I hang out for a bit?" "Of course," I said. It had been a while since we'd had a chance to talk. We began chatting about everything and nothing. Small talk, mostly, a pleasant distraction from the awkwardness with Jessica. But the conversation started to shift. Kelly's tone became softer, her words more deliberate. "You know," she said, leaning in just a little too close, "I always admired the way you and Jessica were together. You were always so in love." Her words hung in the air, and I blinked, unsure of where this conversation was going. "Thanks, Kelly. I still love her. I don't know what's happening between us anymore." Kelly nodded, her eyes searching mine as if trying to understand something deeper. "I get it. Relationships change. People change." She paused, and I felt a chill run down my spine. But maybe sometimes the spark needs a little push, a little attention. I froze, unsure of how to respond. Was she suggesting what I thought she was? I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. Kelly smiled, but it wasn't the playful smile I was used to. This one was different, calculated, like she knew something I didn't. "I'm just saying," she continued, her voice low, "sometimes you have to stop waiting for things to happen and make them happen." My heart raced, my mind spinning. What was she saying? Was she suggesting what I thought she was? I opened my mouth to protest, but before I could, the door to the other room creaked open, and Jessica's voice cut through the tension. "What are you two talking about?" I turned to see Jessica standing in the doorway, her expression unreadable. For a moment, there was a heavy silence. Then Kelly shrugged nonchalantly. "I was just keeping David company." She smiled, but it didn't feel right. It was too casual, too calm, like nothing had happened. Jessica didn't say anything right away. She just stood there, staring at us both. The room felt frozen. And then, without a word, she turned and walked back into the other room. Her footsteps were soft but purposeful, like she was retreating into herself. I sat there, my heart pounding in my chest. What had just happened? Had I imagined it? I looked over at Kelly, and her eyes met mine, not with the same warmth as before, but with something darker, more intense, something dangerous. "You know," Kelly whispered, leaning in closer, "I think you deserve to feel wanted, David. If Jessica won't give you what you need, maybe I will." My breath caught in my throat. My mind raced, and every part of my body screamed at me to get up, to walk away, to stop this before it went too far. But Kelly was right there, her presence overwhelming, and I could feel the weight of her words pressing down on me. The room seemed to close in around me. I didn't know what to do, didn't know what to say. The idea of being with Kelly, Jessica's own cousin, felt so wrong, yet there was something about it that I couldn't shake. The temptation was undeniable, but I knew it would destroy everything. I had to make a choice that would change everything. As Kelly leaned in even closer, her breath warm against my ear, I felt the weight of the decision I had to make. My heart raced, torn between the overwhelming temptation and the guilt that gnawed at me. The thought of what this could cost me, the betrayal, the lies, kept echoing in my mind. Jessica's face flashed in my mind, her calm, unreadable expression from moments ago. "Don't do this," I whispered to myself, but Kelly's hand brushed against mine, making everything blur. Could I walk away? Would I?